All right, let's be honest. When you say the words 22 long rifle, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For most folks, it's the garden variety varmint round. It's the cartridge you used in your first rifle, the one for plinking tin cans off a fence post, or for dispatching the occasional pest in the backyard. It's a pop gun round, right? Especially when you stack it up against serious defensive calibers like 9mm Luger or the hard-hitting .45 automatic Colt pistol. But there's a shadow side to that little rimfire cartridge, a dark, lethal legacy that most people never consider. The truth is that humble 22 long rifle is tied to more firearm-related deaths in the United States than any other single caliber. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the most underestimated round in history. From taking down presidents to dropping grizzly bears, the 22 long rifle has a rap sheet a mile long. Let's get into it. This round's history is soaked in blood, right up to the highest levels of power. On June 5th, 1968, Senator Robert F. Kennedy was gunned down in a hotel kitchen. The weapon wasn't a military-grade rifle. It was a cheap Evere Johnson Cadet revolver chambered in .22 caliber. The assassin, Sirhan, fired multiple shots. The bullet that killed Kennedy was no bigger than your thumb, but it was more than enough to change the course of American history. Fast forward to 1981. President Ronald Reagan steps out of a hotel and is met with a volley of shots from John Hinckley Jr. Again, the weapon of choice was a .22 caliber revolver, this one loaded with so-called Devastator rounds. One of those tiny bullets ricocheted and struck Reagan in the chest, nearly killing him. His press secretary, James Brady, wasn't so lucky. He took a round to the head and was left permanently disabled, ultimately dying decades later from his injuries. A death officially ruled a homicide caused by that single .22 caliber bullet. And it doesn't stop there. This little round has proven its shocking power in the wild, in ways that defy belief. One of the most legendary, almost unbelievable stories comes from Alberta, Canada. A hunter named Bella Twin found herself facing down a massive grizzly bear, a monster reportedly weighing over 1,000 pounds. Her only firearm was a rifle chambered in .22 long rifle. She fired several carefully placed shots, and the giant bear fell. It's an outlier, for sure, but it's a chilling testament to what this round can do when placement is perfect. There are countless other accounts. Hunters in the early 20th century dropping deer with headshots. Farmers humanely dispatching 200-pound hogs with a single, well-aimed shot to the skull. There's even a horrifying story of a 10-year-old elephant in Thailand being brought down by multiple shots from this cartridge. It wasn't clean, but the fact that it worked at all is deeply unsettling. So, what is the secret to its lethality? First introduced way back in 1887 by the J. Stevens Arms and Tool Company. The .22 long rifle is a rimfire round. That means the primer is in the rim of the cartridge case. When fired from a rifle, it sends a 40-grain projectile downrange at roughly 1,200 feet per second, generating about 130 foot-pounds of energy. From a handgun, that drops to between 900 and 1,000 feet per second. On paper, that looks pathetic, but the danger isn't in the raw power, it's in the design. That low-velocity bullet is notoriously unstable. When it enters soft tissue, it doesn't just punch a clean hole. It tumbles, yaws, and ricochets off bone like a pinball, carving a disastrous, unpredictable path. It often lacks the energy to exit the body, meaning it dumps every last bit of its kinetic energy into the target. A shot to the head or chest can turn internal organs into soup, making the wound incredibly difficult for surgeons to treat. Now, pair that gruesome potential with its single greatest attribute, availability. The .22 long rifle is the most common cartridge on the planet. You can buy it in bulk for pennies a round. A box of 50 rounds might cost you $3 to $5. A brick of 500, maybe $25. Compare that to 9mm Luger, which will run you $15 to $20 for 50 rounds, or .223 Remington, which costs $10 to $15 for just 20. Guns chambered for it are just as cheap. A Ruger 10/22 or a Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 can be had for between $200 and $400. This affordability makes it the gateway drug of the firearms world, accessible to everyone, from responsible families to, unfortunately, those with malice in their hearts. And that brings us to its modern-day role in violence. In the Burlington, Washington Mall shooting in 2016, a man used a Ruger 10/22 rifle to murder 5 innocent people. He fired fewer than 10 shots. Each one found its mark. The rifle used was the same model millions of Americans have in their closets for plinking. This cartridge is also a silent accomplice in the tragedy of suicide. In rural America, A .22 rifle is often the forgotten gun in the back of the closet, and its accessibility makes it a common choice in moments of desperation. A 2018 study confirmed its heavy involvement in firearms suicides. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives consistently reports that .22 caliber firearms are among the most frequently recovered at crime scenes. In 2020 alone, the Bureau traced over 10,000 such firearms used in criminal acts. For urban criminals, a suppressed .22 is the tool of choice. Because the round is subsonic, a suppressor can make it virtually silent, a hitman's whisper. And let's not forget accidental deaths. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention reports that in 2021, over 2,500 children under 18 were killed or injured in unintentional shootings. Many of these tragedies involved the .22 long rifle, simply because it was the gun that was around. Now, none of this is to say the .22 long rifle is inherently evil. It's the quintessential American cartridge. It's the one we use to teach our kids marksmanship. It's the heart of competitions and the source of countless fond memories on a range. The Ruger 10/22, the Marlin Model 60, the Henry Golden Boy, these are American icons. But therein lies the danger. It's so common, so normalized, that we forget to respect it. We treat it like a toy, and that familiarity breeds contempt. That's when accidents happen. That's when its quiet lethality is tragically underestimated. Its danger isn't in its thunderous power, but in its silent, unassuming presence. It is the round that is always there. So, I want to hear from you. Have you ever been guilty of underestimating the .22 long rifle? Or do you have a story that proves just how capable this little round can be? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read them all. If this gave you a new perspective, do me a favor and smash that like button, share it with a friend, and make sure you're subscribed for more deep dives into the world of firearms. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Stay vigilant, stay educated, and I'll catch you on the next one.